I'm frightened, Vaux.
I think that was scarier than this entire movie.
How dare you? I cannot believe the shenanigans.
Well, what can I say?
Them here shenanigans to this horror classic.
I'm ready when you are.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we already started.
Go ahead. You have to do the intro.
Do I have to sing again?
No.
Oh.
We're not starting with singing.
I'm going to edit it so it is, though, because I did record that.
So is it pick it and flick it or pick it or flick it?
Pick it and. Jesus, don't say or. Luke will get big mad.
I don't get mad. You just say it wrong every fucking episode. So I'm like, well, do you want me to just change the fucking title? I don't care.
We just rebrand the entire channel.
Oh no, the 6 people might get confused.
Average watch time is 26 seconds.
Average WAP time?
Really?
Yeah.
That's fucking embarrassing.
It's so sad.
We need to get this. Well, fuck, dude. I don't even have that low on numbers.
Maybe my singing will intrigue them.
You could.
Okay.
You could.
Welcome to pick it and flick it.
You already fucked it up.
Okay. Are you going to edit this out?
Yeah, I'm going to edit a whole bunch.
Okay. Well, welcome to Pick It and Flick It. I'm Natasha. I'm a special guest.
I don't think you're a special guest anymore.
I'm a special guest for the Halloween movie Extravaganza.
I loved that we keyed that as what we're doing here. But I don't think you're a special guest. You've been on like four shows. Is this your 4th show technically? So yeah.
Who are you people?
Yeah. Oh.
You haven't introduced
Oh
yourselves.
yeah. There's 2 more people here.
Oh, well, I'm Vaux. If you're new to the channel, hi, welcome.
I'm Luke. I'm also here.
And you're new to the channel.
I'm new. This is my first episode.
It's the first time you've ever been here.
Yeah.
And I want to key because I listened through the last episode. I want to explain this because Luke got big mad when I said a number. We put a list together.
We did.
For the Halloween movie Extravaganza. There's 31 days in October. We put a list of 31 movies together.
How many days are there in October?
31? Is that what I said?
31.
That's right?
I just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
Say it again. How many movies?
Please stop.
31 flavors.
How many?
Please,
Baskin Robbins.
Whoa.
That guy.
You guys are on the same wavelength here. Jesus.
We just had a psychic moment. Sorry about that.
But my point being is that just because we put a list of 31 movies together doesn't mean we're going to get to 31 movies.
And whose fault will it be if it doesn't happen?
I
Fox's.
think
Fox's.
Oh, I got outvoted.
Oh.
Just sink in my chair. But for the second movie.
We just delete the channel. We're done.
Yeah, we're all done. For the second movie in this wonderful event was Tash's pick. And that is
Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat.
From 2007.
This is an interesting movie.
Very.
And I think it's going to be an interesting discussion.
Let's hope so.
Because I had to watch this movie twice to just make sure that I was paying attention.
Sometimes Vaux needs a little extra help.
I do.
He
And you
needs
know
He had
what?
to do
push.
3rd grade 3 times.
If I have to watch a movie twice to make sure that the show is better, then I will do that. Because I'm that committed.
He's a professional.
I'm that committed, damn it. Tasha, what was the reason for your pick on this?
So it scared me a lot growing up, or when I don't know how old I was, 2007, but it didn't come out on DVD until like 2009, right?
Right. Yeah. So I'm sure this is inevitable to get into the sort of troubled history and release of this movie. This movie was supposed to be released in Halloween of 2007, which, if you're a horror nerd like me, you would know Halloween, the remake, came out around that time, as well as Saw 4.
Yes.
Okay,
I'll say I did a little bit of research on that as well.
So it was supposed to come out. It also had some controversy as well because of the killing kids aspect of the movie.
So I saw that, but some of the comments that I saw when I was looking that up is people were more concerned about the failure of Superman Returns.
Right, that's
killing
another
kids.
because another thing was that Superman Returns kind of bombed, man. It didn't really make a lot of money. And Michael Dougherty, the mastermind behind this bad boy, wrote that. And so I guess because people didn't see a movie he wrote, they just lost all faith in him, and it went direct to video in 2009. So
my only thing is, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So when I was 13, 14, whenever this movie came out, it scared the shit out of me. And it took, I feel like now it takes a lot to scare me. Back then it didn't take as much, but I've always been interested in like origin stories or things that kind of follow a history instead of it just being like, oh, well, this is what's going on because that's just how it is. And,
right.
I like to view, I like that.
I was going to say, I wish that Hollywood was more like that now. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like if someone makes a bad movie, they'll just sign you for 6 more bad movies and then just be like, here you go. I mean, you know.
Well, I don't even. It's like they get those plans before the first one even comes out a lot of the time. So they're like, oh shit, what do we do?
Right.
But I don't know. I think this movie was unjustly shelved because I think it's really, really good.
I think so too.
I love anthologies. I think they're a great way to tell a story, and horror movies especially.
I couldn't think of the word.
Because
Anthology.
a big thing about horror that I don't think many people take into account is a lot of the times you'll have an idea for something scary, and then you flesh it out too much, and then it's not scary anymore.
Right.
'Cause they're trying
pretty
too hard
recent
to make it
example
scary.
was, you remember Lights Out? Do you remember that movie? About, like, you would turn off the light and the shadow would be there. So that started off as a short film on YouTube. It was like 2 minutes long, and it was perfect. It was a great little piece of scares. And then they gave him a multi-million-dollar movie, and you had to explain it, and then by the end, it wasn't scary anymore. So I think having an anthology template is a great way to get, like, little stories that wouldn't make a full feature work.
I mean, I think we kind of talked about this when we were watching the movie. VHS wasn't he kind of involved with that as well? I mean, the first one was really good. Second one, not so much. I think it was kind of a little.
Second has its moments. It's definitely not the third one.
But weren't they talking about doing another Trick or Treat?
Michael Dougherty, whom also did Krampus, which I think is also excellent. I don't know if you two have seen it.
I have not.
It's really good, especially in the sound department, which that's you. So we'll have to check it out.
Okay.
Around Christmas. But ever since then, and even before that, he's been saying that he's going to do a second one. He's going to do a second one because Sam would definitely be in it, the OG, who is pretty much the only thing that people talk about these days regarding this movie.
Because he was an established character already.
Right.
Yeah.
He made, in the late 90s, he made like a little cartoon short called Season's Greetings, and Sam was in it, and he wasn't the bad guy in this one. He was just like a little kid. And then
I would even argue that he's not the bad guy in this one.
No, he's just keeping shit in line.
Yeah.
He's made a pumpkin.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
So even on my second watch through of this, I still found this movie quite boring.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my god. You have to watch it again.
Third time's a charm. I don't think that the stories were bad.
Mm-hmm.
I just still thought, as someone who originally watched it and then watched it again, originally not knowing it was an anthology, and then watching it again knowing it was an anthology, it's still rather hard to follow unless you're really, really like into the whole connecting the dots at the end, which it does do. It does a really, really good job putting everything together. That last scene where we see all of those stories come right together, with the, Sam seeing the couple from the beginning, then seeing the werewolf girls almost run over the witch girl who was in the quarry, and then also seeing the zombies. Yeah. And then also seeing the zombies walk up to the what was his name? Old man, whatever.
Krieg?
Yeah,
Krieger.
Krieger.
A Scrooge-like character, but for a different holiday.
Yeah. That was really cool.
Right.
However, I just felt like it was a drag getting to that point. The whole thing, and so I wanted to go back and I was like, okay, so why is the Sam character like very intriguing to so many people? It's because he's, like we mentioned, not the bad guy, just someone who's keeping the rules of Halloween in play. And there's a lot of like really subtle things that are being dropped into this movie that I didn't even realize until now. I went back and was like, okay, I want to find out more about this because I still think it's kind of one of the ones that I thought was hilarious was Halloween, and I guess the werewolf girls kind of mention this when they're getting changed. It's the time to be something that you're not. Mm-hmm. So around the girl, around the kids who kind of like make fun of the girl, the ringleader is an angel, and she's a little shit underneath it all. So she was I was like, that's cool.
On that same note is what's her name?
Anna Paquin?
Anna Paquin.
Yes.
Is dressed up like Little Red Riding Hood.
Yes.
And what happens to her? She gets fucking eaten by a wolf.
Vice versa. She is the wolf.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a little subtle thing. There's also things like the older sister saying that she was known as the runt of the litter, and there are a few other things I can't remember exactly. Fresh meat.
Yeah.
So it's like, especially like you said, going back again and watching it, it's given to you without you even knowing it.
The most unrealistic part of that movie?
What's that?
Was that they found costumes
on Halloween. Exactly.
There's
Especially
never any costumes available.
Did you see that fucking parade? They take that shit serious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would love to live somewhere that did that shit.
And the slutty costumes are the first ones to go.
Oh,
so
yeah,
there's no
absolutely.
fucking way.
Real quick side note, I saw one of those things on Facebook that's like, it's your birth month and your birthday, and that's your Halloween costume. July was sexy. I was born in July. The 18th was truck.
There you
So it
go.
was like,
sexy truck.
Sexy truck, let's go, baby. I want to do that shit.
Optimus Prime and like
I'm
a
sure
thong or
there's-
something.
I'm sure there's a lot of guys from your hometown that you could talk to about a sexy truck.
Ugh.
Are you insinuating that Vaux grew up fucking trucks?
Maybe people that he grew up with.
Yeah, not me. Maybe people I went to school with, but definitely not
Those
me.
who shaped Vox's character.
So the problem that I have, and I read a lot of things that hinted at this, or not hinting, but insinuated that this was a horror film. To me, this was not a horror film.
That's 2 for 2.
I know.
On
This
this
was
list.
not
what,
a horror
what
film.
What is a horror movie to you, Vaux? Do you
Like-
need a baby to get stepped on and then a fucking dragon like eats Freddy Krueger's crotch? Like, what do you need here?
Yeah. So when I'm thinking horror,
Uh-huh.
I'm just thinking like grotesque and over the top, something that's like, I don't know, just kind of brutal. Like,
We should have put some Eli Roth movies on this.
But you
list.
didn't
yeah.
think
Cabin
the,
Fever, maybe.
You
Yeah.
didn't think the werewolves. We could always move some movies
Right.
around.
yeah.
The werewolves changing, or the women
No.
changing into werewolves,
No.
or the guy smashing. I don't know.
So you're telling me that
Michael,
that a principal poisoning a little boy and then fucking cutting his head off and then making a jack-o'-lantern out of it with his son is not a horror movie to you?
yeah.
I mean, the way you explained that,
Right.
horror.
There
the
you
way
go.
it was executed,
Tremendously.
no.
'Cause
Well,
man.
I
'cause you-
think isn't it only like PG-13?
No, this is an R.
Is
I'm
it?
pretty sure.
I don't know. I guess I didn't really pay attention.
I feel like
Well,
if
they
it were
they
R,
dropped
it
they
would be
dropped the
more-
R word quite a few times.
oh,
so
they do. Maybe, yeah.
So where do we? This was 2007.
I don't
so
think that would be considered.
It's an
a
R.
swear word.
It's
an
an
R.
R.
Oh,
yeah.
is it
It's
R?
rated R?
Oh, I thought it was.
Yes.
I think it's probably
PG-13.
rated R because of like murder and blood and gore and stuff. That's usually what sets people off. But let me, while you're saying,
Do you not remember when Sam was brutally murdered right in front of us?
yeah, except he grew back instantly and his face is fucking awesome.
He's just
by
full
the
of
way.
pumpkin seeds.
I love him. Here's why I want to say that the werewolf thing didn't give me a horror thing. Are we gonna call Van Helsing a horror film?
I would call that a horrible movie.
We're not gonna get into that.
You were just missing a few letters.
We're not gonna get into that.
Okay.
But I wanted to ask.
I've never seen that movie, so.
Oh my god. Okay, so there's Luke. Would you call that a horror film?
Sure.
You would call Van Helsing a horror film?
Like I said, horrible first,
No.
horror second.
Horror genre.
Well, he hunts vampires, right?
And werewolves.
So
And there's
then-
a Frankenstein.
So
then-
what would the movie be?
So okay, so
I just think it's a sci-fi
wait, so Van
thriller.
Helsing isn't a horror movie.
or fantasy thriller, action thriller.
So are the original Dracula, Frankenstein, and all that shit werewolves?
I wouldn't call those horror movies.
They're definitely horror movies.
I'm confused. Horror movie is supposed to be like a blanket term. Obviously, there's like
Yeah,
What
what's
about
the offsets?
Universal Horror Nights?
Yeah,
and they had
okay.
the Universal
Okay.
Monsters.
I get.
yeah.
I
There you
get-
go. There's the end of it. What did Universal call it?
I'm sorry.
At the theme park.
I'm sorry. Universal is obviously the best company.
Have
on
you
the
not seen
planet,
the Horror
so-
Cafe?
So we'll go with. I don't know. I just didn't get horror vibes. Scary movie vibes for sure. Through like
Scary Movie is a horror movie.
I think
No.
they're synonyms.
I want to break. I don't know. Maybe I break down.
We need to get
like,
Vox a
horror.
dictionary.
You do that with music, but yeah.
I do that with music. I do, do that with music. I said,
He said doo doo.
yeah. I don't know. The way you explained
you'd like
the
to be too
poisoning the
specific.
kid, and that's yeah, you're like, yeah, okay, that's horror. But I don't know, man. I had like, I don't know. I think I had more fun watching this movie than I was like, this is scary. Like when I'm watching the original Halloween or the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'm like, this
Right.
is fucking nuts.
Which is
You
that
know?
on the list? The original TCM?
I think I
believe
put it
is,
on
I
there.
yes.
hope so. 'cause
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk.
That is where I say horror. I mean,
Right.
it's like jump scares and just brutality This one was just like, it's a little kid in a bag, kind of running around and doing stuff. I don't know. Not to mention, I get it was like, and this is, I think, what I had an issue with when we did The Guest. There's too many genres like plummeled into one here, because you got paranormal, you got werewolves, you got zombies, you got crazy neighbor.
Well, I think that's, again, because it's like, it's supposed to be anthology. It's supposed to be different.
I know.
Like,
and
so
maybe I just have a problem with the anthology.
I think what you have a problem with is that it was intertwined, which is, I think, the best part of it.
Right.
That's
It's
right.
different
Because, like,
stories.
Creepshow is doing all the things you said.
I know.
Which people draw parallels because, aside from the comic book intro,
right.
It's basically a pretty flowing. It kind of goes back a little bit, but like Creepshow is like segment, stop. And I wonder how you would feel about that, because it's the same thing.
I've only seen Freak Show one time.
Except for, instead of it kind of, they don't meet. Like you know how the vampire wannabe turns out to be the principal the whole time.
Right.
There's just a lot of overflow, and I don't think you're digging it too much.
I feel like it would be boring though if it was just about the principal the entire movie, or just about the couple in the beginning, or just about the werewolves, or just about the kids. I feel like that would be boring.
Because they're pretty simple stories. It's not like anything. This isn't groundbreaking
yeah,
stuff.
It's not super complex.
It's I think it's like like I was mentioning last time. At the very beginning of the movie, before we know anything about that group of zombified kids, you see them like 3 minutes into the movie walking out. Like, they took a lot of care.
I saw that.
To keep it not only connected, but like you can tell that this took a lot of work, because like you got to do that, and movies are never shot in sequence like that. So
right.
God, that was probably a fucking nightmare.
I can only imagine. I think that's probably where my opinion and issue kind of teeters, because I feel like I would want to see more of Sam. I feel like I didn't see enough of Sam in this
and
movie.
that's why everyone's clamoring for a sequel, because it's kind of like Pennywise, where he's not really all that interesting or integral to that's not what the movie's really about.
Right.
But he was blown up as like everyone loved. Beetlejuice is another great example. Beetlejuice is in that movie for like 11 minutes.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
You're right.
And that's all everyone ever talks about, because that's what made the movie.
But the thing with Beetlejuice, and just to compare the two,
right?
Because we're talking about two characters that are barely in the movie.
They're not, yeah.
Beetlejuice had like an overall single continuing story where, yes, this one did, but it was chopped up. So we saw the different perspectives of the story kind of out of sequence, but then in sequence. And I don't know. I think that's where my issue was. It was kind of like this. I'm not following, because Beetlejuice, we're following a family, literally a family who died. And then they're going through this house. And then the other family. And then there's just this spooky guy that's like, hey, by the way.
Winona Ryder is looking like Tim Burton's Fantasy.
Yeah. But then in Trick or Treat, it's like we're following all these different people, and then there's this one character that's just like, hey, I'm still here. I'm still part of the movie.
I don't think they ever, there's never a point where they stop and are like, hey, here I am. Remember me from earlier?
Yeah, I know.
I don't...
You know the other problem I had is that all these kills in this movie were awesome, besides the first one. Because the first one that we see is so corny. She gets her head cut off, and then a giant lollipop stuck in her mouth. I think that threw it all off for me, too.
But if you think about a normal, like any horror movie, the first kill is always the corniest. All the time, because it's the first 10 minutes of the movie, and someone dies, whether it's in Scream or, I don't even know what other horror movies, but it's happened in Scream where someone dies right off the bat, but it's always the cheesiest.
Yeah, Scream. Psycho.
But Psycho is a kind of like a...
Well, that was fucking...
But it seems
crazy
corny
that they did that,
because it was so quick, and they didn't really make a big deal
I always took it as kind of the arm and the leg like severed and dangling there, because that's what he noticed was the wedding ring on her finger.
Right.
I thought that was like a mix of like that, and the candy was like a mix of like his brutality, but he's also a little kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know when the last time you cut off someone's head and then put it on top of a previously put out Halloween decoration, but I don't know what is the right way to go about that.
And
if anyone knows, let us know down below. I don't know.
The real question here is how did that short little guy, heads are heavy, How did he get that head all the way up on top of that scarecrow and then put a sheet back over it?
Well, he was crawling on the ceiling at
he don't
true.
give
You're
a
right.
He's
fuck.
not.
Maybe he can fly.
Yeah, he's really not
He's
human
probably,
or a little
he's
kid or
probably,
anything.
He's probably like Loki. He's just all about mischief and you know, shit like that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Not the Marvel one. We can go one episode without talking about it.
Yeah. I swear, we can do it.
Fuck!
I'm just checking time here. Yeah, I don't know.
Can we take a minute to talk about fucking Brian Cox, who is killer in this movie?
I still need to look him up again. I know him from somewhere.
He's from The Ringer with Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah, I know that.
Classic stuff.
I know him from somewhere else. I know we had talked
Super
about that.
Troopers.
No, I know him from somewhere else. He looks so familiar to me. Or maybe his voice is. Maybe he's a voice actor or something.
He does have a very nice voice.
I wouldn't say it's really squirrely.
He looks a lot like John Carpenter in this movie.
Really squirrely. I wouldn't say it's a nice voice at all. He's kind of like, yeah, I don't know. And who was the neighbor? He was in
The principal guy?
not the principal, the principal's neighbor, the old guy, the bus driver.
That's who he's talking
That's what
about.
Oh, he was
Brian
a-
Cox.
Brian Cox was the bus driver.
Oh, who was the? I'm sorry, I got him confused.
You mean the
with-
guy who cut off the little kid's head?
Yeah, the kid from
I thought
Bad
he was
Santa.
the principal, right, or a teacher?
He is the
Something?
principal. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the kids from the story later on, they come in and you don't even know who they are first, and then Sam's there too. See, fucking perfect scene.
Oh
right
my
there.
God.
His name's Dylan Baker, and he's been in other stuff.
The
It looks like he's more of like a TV guy, more than anything else.
Really?
Yeah.
really.
But he's great in this.
Yeah.
Who plays? Come to find out, 2 roles.
Yeah, the vampire and
the teacher,
the crazy
guy.
murderer.
So was he actually a vampire?
No,
No,
because
they
remember
took out
they take out his teeth.
He probably just cut up the girl, the first victim that he leaves out on the streets.
It shows her being bit. He's biting her
So then maybe
because she's kind of like either.
I wonder if those fake teeth are just super sharp.
Yeah,
she-
maybe
she's
'cause-
drunk, kind of like and he's like licking on her neck, and then all of a sudden he
Right.
bites her, and then she like notices there's blood, and she's like, "What the?" Yeah, but she's clearly drunk, and that's why the wife, who was in the robot suit, was like, "What the heck?" And the husband said, "She's just
Don't
drunk."
worry about it.
Yeah,
she's just
drunk.
she's fine.
Yeah, 'cause
See?
she was stumbling all over the place.
But you don't like that. You don't like that she was in earlier in the movie and then she was in it later on again.
I don't mind the connections, man. It just for some reason it didn't flow, and it bored me to
That
watch.
definitely flowed.
I think it flowed
it didn't
better
flow for
than,
me.
than a river.
It didn't flow for me. I think
And that's okay.
that yeah. I mean, that's just how I think that it bored me. That's what I know, because it didn't flow well for me. But hey, I mean, for people who like anthology films and these kind of puzzle pieces stuff,
I would love to.
This is
I
right
would
up your
love to
alley.
see a second.
Same.
So
I'd watch a second.
I don't. I know it's been a long time. Oh, that was weird. I kind of.
I love it every episode.
Well, that wasn't even like a voice crack. It was just kind of like I kept.
Got the
My
voice crack
voice
in the
didn't
episode
stop. I'd love to see a second though, because I think him especially with his style and Sam being just kind of there. I think that could really work.
You know what else is probably something that would make it a little bit better if it was more modernized? I mean, this was clearly...
I'd say this is timeless. Like, it could take place at any time.
Yeah, but the problem is now we have, like...
Oh, he did Godzilla 2 last year, Michael Dougherty.
I didn't see it.
No one did.
Oh,
But
okay.
but it came out.
It was out there.
Yeah, Trick or Treat 2, because Trick or Treat was one from
The 70s, right?
the 80s. If I hold on,
Oh, boy.
from 86.
Oh, 86. I thought it was the 70s.
Yeah, that tells the story of a bullied teenage boy who is devastated after the death of his heavy metal icon. But as Halloween night approaches, he discovers that he may be the only one to stop Sammy from making a satanic comeback from beyond the grave.
Oh, so there's a Sam in that one, too.
Yeah, that you can't.
Okay,
Well,
here's a...
do you want to know why his name is Sam?
I would say, here's a fun fact.
Go ahead.
No, you tell me.
Okay.
You got all excited about it.
Okay, so the word is pronounced Samhain, but for some reason, especially Halloween 2 does this as well, they
Yes.
say Sam Hain, which is basically Halloween.
Yes.
Basically,
A
the
Hallows Eve.
original. It's old as shit. It's been around forever, and that's where you get all your weird traditions, like dressing up like someone else.
Yeah, it's like some cultist shit.
It's the end of the harvest.
Yeah.
And so Sam comes from Sam Hain, even though it's not how it's spelt, but that's how the name comes from. So look at that.
I thought that was cool.
And the fan favorite Rhonda explains that in the movie.
Yes.
So
Yes.
You
So
know.
that a little nod. The other nod that I read about, and I didn't even realize it, was there's a Stephen King reference in the movie.
What is it?
What the hell's the evil car name?
Christine.
Oh, is there a Firebird?
Christine is in it during the very first time we see the bus driver driving the kids.
Oh, in the flashback?
Yeah, when the first scene shows the bus coming down the road and it goes right by Christine.
I forgot
big,
exactly
Ding,
what
ding,
car
ding, ding, ding.
Christine
Did you read a
is.
BuzzFeed article about that?
Yep. Yes, I did.
We don't endorse BuzzFeed.
We love BuzzFeed.
I love
here.
BuzzFeed.
I actually can't stand BuzzFeed, but Tash loves them, so that's all that matters here. So one thing we didn't do as we wrap up here last episode, and I think we should do this every episode so that people that are just clicking on the individual movie,
Right.
is we should explain how we rate things.
Oh, okay.
did.
So,
We didn't really.
okay. Well, our
Oh,
rating
we didn't
system is
explain
pretty
how.
simple.
Okay.
We're bringing it back to the Roger Ebert days of
Yay.
thumbs up or thumbs down. Pick it or flick it. I know we're 12 years old. It's okay.
But it's kind of funny because it's all like a dual meaning.
Right.
You pick the movie, you flick the movie, which means you literally take it off the
Mm-hmm.
shelf and watch it. And our rating system though is: would you pick it? Would you watch it? Or
Right.
would you flick it? Throw that bitch out the window.
And flick
Like
is
a
also
booger.
a term for a movie. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Aren't we clever?
We're so clever. The other thing that we like to do is put it on a 1 to 10 scale. So we'll
Just as a,
because as we
more defined.
witnessed, if you listened to the last episode, which is the guest, I said that you should pick it. You should watch the movie.
Mm-hmm.
However, I gave it a lower number because although it was worth a watch, I didn't think it was that good.
Which I still think you're full of shit.
The first half is really well. So when you hear it, and we'll explain this every episode, we should, just so everyone knows, because I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh, I want to hear about this movie, but I don't give a shit about this movie,
Yeah.
So we'll explain that. But
So, Vaux,
I'm
you?
going to say flick it.
You're going to flick it.
I'm going to say flick
Tosh, I'm sure I know what you're going to say.
I would pick it.
And I also undyingly would pick Trick or Treat. I think it is a modern horror masterpiece that, if we think about it, he's the most recent horror icon besides Pennywise, which you can argue
what about
he's been out.
Art
so
the Clown.
Don't get me started on that yet.
We're going to get there.
Don't
So,
get me started on that yet.
okay,
I'm
just
gonna.
saying.
This might burn a few bridges when that movie comes up.
I'm
for
just
real.
saying. Just saying. He's not the most modern. We have.
I would say
he's
he's the best modern.
within the past decade.
Okay, besides art and the guy from, I'd say, like The Collector, if you know what. That's digging a little.
Or what
deep,
about
but,
the one from American Horror Story,
Twisty.
Twisty?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Nah.
He's still an icon now. They have him on T-shirts all over the place.
He's
Yeah.
scary.
I mean,
He's scary.
Hitler was on T-shirts.
We're not gonna. go there. So, scale 1 to 10.
9.
9. Wow.
Yeah, that's 2 in a row.
That's
2 nines in a row.
really high.
And you know me, I'm very tough on
and
horror.
You're
movies,
very
so.
particular.
Please.
Tasha, 1 to 10.
9.3.
Look at that.
We can't do no points. What are you talking
Hey,
about?
well,
0.3.
There are no rules.
Okay, 9.
Okay.
0.3.
I'm gonna give this a 6.
Again.
I'm
Okay,
gonna give it a 6.
so great. Same
So
scores
you'd
as last
flick
time.
the
basically.
guest, or you'd pick the guest, but you
Yeah.
would
I think the guest
give it a 6. But the same
Yeah.
with Trick or Treat.
So if we're
Have
gonna-
some consistency.
If we're gonna reference like something that we've reviewed, as you should be listening to all of these, so that you're not confused.
Oh, sorry.
I think the guest is fun to watch until it gets crazy. This one, for me, it bored me. I've said it already. It was boring, so it wasn't that fun to watch for me. Sorry. So that's where my rating system comes. However, I
can't
think
believe this.
I think Sam is kind of cute, and I think he was cool as fuck when his hood was taken off.
Yeah.
And I think that some of the kills were creative. It was just all over the place. So there's my rating. End of story. I'm done.
Yeah.
Hands down. Mic drop.
Okay. Well, thank you once again for joining us on the Pick It and Flick It podcast. I'm Luke. I run a YouTube channel called Confused Reviews.
And you
if you want
just
to check that
recently
out. Just dropped
last
when
month.
we recorded that.
Oh, yeah, last month.
Hopefully the new one is either out also or close to being out. But
Just subscribe.
Yeah, check us out.
Just subscribe.
Check us out here and there.
You won't regret it.
Vaux makes music over there sometimes.
I do a little bit of things on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Vaux,
I'm Natasha.
and fucking like, comment, and subscribe, bitches. That's what you have to say now.
aggressive.
That's what you have to say now to
Yeah.
get things done. No, but seriously, like and tell us movies.
Follow
that
us on
you,
MySpace, and
Hey, MySpace is still a thing,
if
so
you
don't tell
if you
them
want
that.
me to burn some LimeWire files onto a CD for you, just let us know down below. Thanks for watching.
Wow, nothing
See you
positive
later.
this time.
See you later. Oh, if you're gonna get Purell, get the kind with aloe. It's better for your skin. All right,
It
good night.
Smells better. Spooky Halloween.